incredibly deceptive. The individual ratings aren't all that. They've not really got any superstars showing up to the show, but they're just winning. That's all they're doing. 2-1. They're slogging through every series, and somehow, some way, they're finding that extra 5% to get it over the line, even when their opposition are absolutely popping off. So there's still potential in this one yet, but it's going to need Sashi to pop off here on the T side of Nuke.
Now, I'm really excited for this. Pistol round's going to be a crazy way to kick this off, but they have very different styles of play here. Sashi, they love for this like heavy outside on their T side. You know, they go heavy out, they overwhelm. And actually, for the side of 3D Max, usually they're really quite passive out here. So this, I think, the battle of the outside is going to fully define whether Sashi can make this impact. And right now, they've only really got Maka with eyes here. A little bit of damage, but Lucky popping his head on up has something to say, and it's 2, and that's a rough start there. Make it 3.
That's a really nice bait and switch from Maka. Quad kill from Lucky down low. Quez gets his head ripped off for free, and that is not how you'd want your pistol round to go if you're Sashi. Nothing found, nothing gained. Maka, I mean, he misses a couple of initial shots there, but there's so many bodies looking in his direction. You've got to imagine, for Sashi, if you've got 3 or 4 players top a secret, just somebody has got to be looking down there. You can't afford to be so tunnel visioned on that single outside player. Gives away a bit of a freebie for 3D Max, if we're honest. Without a bomb plant coming in, full eco to follow. Opportunity for some of these SMGs. I say some, there's only one on Gravity to try and farm up a bit of cash.
Yeah, indeed. 3D Max, this is just a limit casualty sort of situation. Joko, so I'll highlight this pretty quickly. He's the ramp player. He's often left on his own with ramp. Sometimes they'll move, you know, Maka over to help out if he's got the AWP. But for the most part, he'll be left by his lonesome. And honestly, just dispatching Lucky, just having another round he's being allowed to farm. Gravity. Who's going to get the final kill? Actually, Maka's fed up, wanted some of the action.
That's a lovely clean round as well. Takes a couple of dinks, but no really significant damage, and we get into the interesting stuff. It turns into, I won't call it a bonus round, because I'm fairly convinced that CTs don't get bonus rounds with the economy as it is now, but it's a fairly solid position to be in. A decent amount of money left in the bank. They'll be able to invest fully into the util. Gravity, if he wants, could make the decision to upgrade, but on a map like Nuke, MP9, Topper, Heart, Inside Mini, something like that, there's plenty of opportunities up close and personal for him to find some impact. And well, it looks like that's exactly where he's going to head up onto Topper Heart. He even just drops down into the site to take an initial peek. And we settle into our first real default of this series. Sashi, fairly passive across the board. They've dropped the shallow smokes just to try and feign the idea that potentially they could be getting some control, but for the time being, at least, Iceberg looking like he wants to work his way back around Mini. Pop to the smoke, very nearly spotted out. Lucky not quite there on the angle. And everyone just pauses for a moment.
Yeah, 2 very explosive teams, and both of them kind of deciding, let's put the pedal down and slow it down. And actually just slowly start to take this control. They've still got this really clear presence outside the wall of smokes. Allow them safe passage into secret, and there's no one really able to contest this right now. Only 1 HE left on Gravity, and that's nowhere near this situation. So safe passage should they choose to go. And actually, still hanging around in lobby.
It's forced a fairly proactive rotation, though. 3 CTs working their way into the lower site. They want to grab this fight as soon as they can. Maka finds the headshot, and that will deny the remaining lower presence. It's really going to force Sashi's hand a little bit. With 30 seconds left on the clock, it will be upper. An exercise tucked back sight is going to have a lot to do here. All on his timings on these swings. Spotted out, can't find the shot. Lucky does well to find one in response, and Gravity using that HE you pointed out to great effect. Pops the smoke, deals with Mister, and at this point, these 2 remaining players, they're just going to get overwhelmed inside of the site. Lucky once again coming up big, 9-0 inside of 3 rounds, and that is a horrifying sight if you're a fan of Sashi.
Yeah, the fact that they even preemptively rotated, but that wasn't really the issue, because they go for that rotate. They spot only 1 player. They're probably a little bit confused. A whole wall of smokes for just 1 player to go down secret. You take them out, you realize there's nothing else there, so you can immediately start those rotates back on up. You pull your ramp player over to heaven, and suddenly you've got eyes on the whole of that site. That bomb does not see the ground. And so just really nicely played there from 3D Max. Fluid in their defense, and now Sashi, they're still going heavy outside, and 3D Max, they don't seem particularly bothered by it.
They're trusting in their hold at the moment, knowing that it's likely upgraded pistols as well. The economy well read, so just looking to maintain a bit of distance, try and keep these fights as even as they can. A couple of smokes are going to allow them to pop in close towards Decon, though. Maka, a bit of timing. Lucky and Cabby actually finding a killer piece as well, and suddenly this round is really starting to fall apart. Iceberg on the drive-by gets the better of Gravity, and out of absolutely nowhere, we have popped and broken this lower site, and Sashi, well, they've got a round that should be an absolute lock at this point. Maka and Exercise, realistically, just looking at potentially trying to save a couple of rifles. An exit kill at the very least, but that is not the expected pattern whatsoever. Those Tech 9s, well, they're a lethal weapon. They really are. And up close and personal, they can do so much heavy lifting. Iceberg and Cabby clean up the pieces, and somehow, some way, Sashi got there first.
Yeah, not the round we expected them to get there first, but it's good that they're getting on the leaderboard early, because this could have very easily been the start of a huge snowball here for 3D Max to just run them over. Luckily, economy in a place that it's not the most amazing buy, and I swear, Exercise, if you sell that XM and toy with me too many times in the past 8, nope, he's committed.
I like it.
I like it. I think that it's a spicy way to get yourself back into this one. They lose this round, they're a little bit damned financially, but I'm gonna put up a fight. Wall of smokes outside once again. The HEs have really been a problem for them in these situations. Actually, not gonna cause them any issues. Lucky just gonna sit back on his hands. Maka left to deal with the pieces, and they are just gonna feed one by one. The double peek here could be huge.
Oh. Getting very aggressive with it. Does well to find a second at the very least. Finally traded out by the other Lucky. And we get into a little bit of chaos here. See the rotations coming down. Lucky deals with Mister, though, and that's going to be really problematic now. Other Lucky deals with Lucky. And suddenly we're into a 2-on-2. Quez managing to find a kill on towards Exercise. Leaves an isolated upper site here. Gravity a long way away on this rotation. Jocko tucked inside of Heaven. There's a couple of timings in play now. Gravity not opting to pick up one of those rifles inside Secret, wanting to keep his approach as quiet as he can, as now we look to dial in that plant, and Quez lightning fast on the shot. Should have spotted Gravity out, doesn't quite do so, and gives the youngster a chance. 1v2. He's dealt with the first, knows where the last is, but he can't quite rein in that MP9. Sashi have their second, and they finally break that CT economy.
Oh, you love to see it. It's good that they did that. It looked really dicey for them. Two-player disadvantage and, didn't have the bomb down. But what a way to come back into this, isolating those fights and winning them ultimately. Timeout being called now. I think interesting choice to sit and try figure out how to really drive the nail in with the fact that they know that the CT money's got to be pretty poor right now. Maybe they're not quite sure how bad, but it's not good, and they know that much. Try figure out how to make this round really hurt and to keep themselves safe, because we've already seen them pull a round out of the magic hat. It is quite nice, though, that they managed to get the kill very easily, because that Molotov forces the fight back. Some of these Sashi players, they get quite jumpy when they hear the defuse, right? If they're in a position where they don't have a direct line of sight on that bomb, the moment they hear it, they get really eager to peek, and often it's very easy to bait them out. So getting the kill there eliminates that need to worry about going for a fake defuse and whether it is or not fake.
Really solid position for Sashi at this point. We know how frail that CT economy is. This one, well, it's just a little bit of a done round, if we're perfectly honest. Opportunity maybe to find a couple of kills if you're on the side of 3D Max. Steal away a couple of rifles would be fantastic, but we're going to see something a little cheeky from them. 3 towards Secret, 2 working their way down Ven. Just hoping to play a little bit of a timing game here. Iceberg working his way in towards Garage, but with Mister at long range, still holding on to this, seems very aware of the possibility. It's going to be a tough old fight for the pistols to take. Plenty of util still as well to just make absolutely sure this one doesn't go against them. Nice dink onto Mister at the very least, but Perk of the angle immediately falls back behind things and actually leaves his teammate out to dry just a little bit. The spray a little awkward as well. Gravity and Jocko finding a killer piece, and realistically, that's all they would have wanted out of this round. A couple of kills. Keep that T-side economy honest. And now let's see if you can do anything else with it. Gravity could make the argument to save that AK. For the time being, it looks like he's at least halfway interested. Does start to work his way back towards T-spawn, though. And now a bit of a decision to make. Could try and keep a couple of these T-side players inside of the site itself. Exercise even has a Molotov to maybe enable that. As Gravity Yeah, he's going to opt to just back out of this situation, look to save the rifle and exercise. Actually going to grab a second and go with him as well. That's a nice call from 3D Max.
Yeah, that second smoke coming on through meant that they really couldn't even push through main. If they'd gone a little bit quicker over towards heaven, found a pick, they could have gone for it. I think that's what they were hoping for is, you know, if you see someone, you're able to draw something out, you might be able to go for it. But no, call to save, I think, absolutely the right one here. Joker, unfortunately, not going to be allowed to walk away with anything. Not that there was particularly much to hold on to, but 3-on-3, we tie up the scoreboard. And Sashi, they're wanting to try and make this a competitive T-side half. And this has been their thing, is that they have these really strong T sides, and they need them to be, because their CT side, that's where they struggle, and that's where teams have these huge comebacks against them. Like yesterday, I think was 7-1 down versus Sangor, and I think they went into the house something like 8-4, comeback. Not even in overtime, in regulation. Joko, this is a little bit of
okay. 2 kills in 2 seconds, open things up in an early 3-on-5, and 3D Max, they're not making this easy for themselves. Ton of damage taken down towards ramp, and an early pick just inside of the A site leaves scrambling players. Lucky Dink down as well. They know they've got to find a response early. Exercise does well to grab one back, but they're going to need a little bit more than that. Still very limited control, and you can see Maka aware of the possibility, but also there's just too many holes to plug when you're 3-on-4. Too many gaps in this map. You've got to make a call, and you've got to stick to your guns. Another smoke goes down Squeak. Exercise and Maka both going to drop lower, which for now doesn't quite look like the right play. Bomb still nestled in lobby. Iceberg just holding on to any over-aggression up through secret. And Lucky, well, Dink down to virtually nothing, has to play the most passive angle imaginable.
Yeah, I think that they, in theory, made the right call, knowing that there's a wall of smokes outside and that they have a propensity to head outside to B, you know. I think it's a nice call to head down secret, but also, at the end of the day, that's not where they are. Lucky, this far back angle might bode quite well, but it's just going to miss the timing here. The team's going to burst onto site, and the HP not looking great on some of these players. Lucky the only one even really nearby. And so this might just be a case of saving very early on.
Feels like it. Almost immediately, Lucky's going to start backing away towards spawn. Those 2 other rifles not in a position to have any impact. And you're right, it's a little unfortunate. Lucky held that angle for so long. The instant Iceberg looks to work his way in, he swings off of it. If he gets that kill, maybe there's an argument to be made. Maybe you can start to try and convince some of these players. Exercise with a bit of util, couple defuse kits. You could see the way in. But not going to happen this time out. It will be Sashi with 4 alive into the next. Building themselves up a lovely little bank over on that T side. I know you mentioned it's arguably where they need to be catching the bulk of their rounds, but they're doing a solid job of breaking 3D Max down so far.
That they are. Something I think that might bode quite well for them here is that 3D Max is Lucky. Sometimes likes to go for a super aggressive peek into lobby. Whether it's at the beginning of the round or reasserting that lobby control slightly later on if they've lost a bit of this map control. And that hurts to watch the replays. I love the replays, but oh god, it hurts when you get to see some of those moments back again. But I think Lucky maybe trying to take a little bit of earlier lobby control, or at least trying to establish some sort of presence in there. We've seen him do it a couple of times. Might be the linchpin that they need, because outside has just been a little bit weak. Joko needs to be careful because they leave him alone over towards ramp, and it's not even him that's going to be the first to go down.
That's just a read straight up from Sashi, aware that when you drop that smoke, you're probably going to be trying to do something a little cheeky. Well-placed spam connects almost the first bullet. And life, again, is a tough place to be for 3D Max. Man down. Still with a decent amount of control. They've left Lucky on a bit of an island out towards red, and he's got a lot of map to cover and not a lot to do it with. 2 players looking to encroach on his position as well is going to make this a very tough spot for him. Needs realistically to come out with more than 1 as well. Nice spray down for the first. Now he's in a little bit of trouble though. Iceberg still working his way around these corners. Spotted on the swing. Position now known, and Lucky does so well to fade away. Actually sticks inside of a smoke for a couple seconds longer. Wants to potentially just re-aggress. Drops back into garage.
He's a ghost.
And needs to stay alive here, but Iceberg's read it like a book. Molly comes out, smoke to follow. Now it's just a game of chicken.
Oh, Iceberg, he's read this so perfectly. The fact that he knew he'd snuck into carriage instead of going in main, even with that timing to go anywhere. The Molotov coming through, and the fact that he's even tracking and reading, expecting him to go around the outside. Lucky, this long position, patience, previous rounds hasn't paid off, and neither this round. They get down Secret Joko, immediate rotation down to try stem the bleeding here.
Just has to stay alive. Has to buy time after the initial kill, and Quest is having absolutely none of it. Rips his head clean off, and I think Sashi heard me talking about them pre-game because they are looking lightning fast in these opening 2 rounds. Another one that's just going to fall apart and force the save from 3D Max. Wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of players hunt either from Sashi here. Plenty of cash in the bank. Lucky on 88. Gabby not far behind him. 3D Max, it just feels like their hands being forced in these moments. They're not winning any of their fights. Struggling to get their individuals activated.
Yeah, they've not even really been in a position to go for any of these retakes, because by the time that the bomb goes down, Sashi's winning all of these fights so far away from the bomb sites that they just really get free entry, you know. Joko was on site, and that's the only real kill that we've seen on an actual bomb site, really, in the past couple of rounds. So by the time that the bomb even goes down, even sees site, there's nobody left to assume a position to look at this. Like, you're not going to want to go for these 2v4s, you know, 1v3 retakes. It's just not on the cards. And so 3D Max, they're good in the retake. Sashi, they get a little bit panicky when they're up against a retake. And so they've just counteracted this problem by not letting it get there and working really nicely. We've got the AWP out for Maka, and this has to be a turning point for them. They have to be doing something special with it. Joko.
Oh, it's an ugly fight, but he gets the better of it.
Ooh.
Mr. somehow not seeing him top of the molly. Follow up with a beautiful little HE. Good damage done. First time in a while, 3D Max have had the man advantage starting a round off as well. So just forcing Sashi to reconsider things for the first time. Dropping back into that lobby control. And they really haven't got anything else. They were fairly committed to that ramp rush. All 5 players were there. Mr. going down, wards them away from it and forces a rethink that's, well, it's a little slow to come through.
Yeah, I like this. Joko's one of the positions that, you know, on your own, it's a little bit exploitable there. Maka. These wall of smokes, they've just been really struggling with, but here we go. We've got Lucky posted up as the counteract, the foil to this. And that HE grenade could be huge.
Ton of damage. But again, just not quite able to hold on to that outside control. Maka has to retreat into mini, no choice. And a drop in could be good. Gravity reads it well, the shadow angle in his favor. Sashi just looking a little lost at the moment, having gone down a couple of players. Gravity's done well to reposition inside of Tetris. Iceberg, while he's trying to work outside, his teammates remain a little isolated at Squeak, and Maka is going to take full advantage of that angle. 20 seconds on the clock. You can see what Iceberg's going for here. And if he can get there a little quicker, he might have half a chance. Cabby opens things up onto Joko. Now the kill will come in onto Maka. And this upper site's looking a little bit sketchy. Gravity does very well to adjust, though. And with that limited time on the clock, it will be 3D Max finally starting to steady the ship. And that is one hell of a wallbang to finish it.
Oh, it's magnificent. But yeah, that's a difficult one there. Everyone's sort of pitching in. The fact that they're now starting to get outside under control, you can see Sashi, they head elsewhere, but it doesn't really work. And once their initial plan fails, it seems that they've not really got a backup option. So the mid-rounding here, maybe struggling a little bit, needs some more voices. Iceberg, if Iceberg gets even one more here, it would have been close either way. But there's a world. The issue is that they're all on site there. They're all waiting for it. Timeout being called. They're finally starting to lose their grip a little bit here, Sashi. A little bit of a discussion about what's gone wrong, whilst they still have money in the bank to stop this getting worse for themselves. They keep losing rounds. Suddenly everything they've saved up is gone, and they struggle in the last couple of rounds of the half here. They can get this round here. The money's still weak enough that 3D Max can be forced onto another eco in this half. Just buys themselves a bit more breathing room. But automatically, you know, going into the second half with 5 as a minimum, it looks pretty good for them either way. Anything else they can get on top of this, any more momentum that they can carry forward is magic.
See what they've got for us. Iceberg, oh, tanking it. And Maka's there with the wallbang to finish the job. Finding a little bit of form, the AWPer, and he does tend to be a bit of a talisman for this 3D Max roster. If he's playing well, not too often you see an AWPing fragging in-game leader, but if he's playing well, then the team really start to rally around him. Gravity still sat on this angle, still waiting. And again, you can kind of see the lack of a second idea here. They've managed to slip Mr. down in towards Secret at the very least, but bomb still outside, ramp control still established for the CT side. Sashi are going to struggle to get a man in here. They're actually going to work the bomb back towards outside, where Lucky is just starting to think about the possibility of it. Playing in and around credit. Just looking for the shoulder peek, looking for the information. 50 seconds on the clock, and Mister's going to be screaming for this now. He's realised pretty much the entirety of that lower site is clear. He's got an aggressive stance in towards control. The problem is, his teammates just aren't quite there yet, and with an AWPer on the angle towards ramp, Quez is going to have a tough old time hooking up with him. 2 players spotted as they try and make their way down. Secret and Lucky, that's the bomb dropped in such an awkward spot as well. Cabby's got to try and work his way back into it, but you can see the CTs, they know exactly what's going on. Couple of players rotate in, and with 20 seconds on the clock, I don't think there's any more they can do, or is there? Quez single-handedly entering into this upper site. 2 lightning-fast headshots. And suddenly, we've got a round on our hands here. 12 seconds, though. That bomb has got to make its way to site immediately. Maka finally dealing with Quez, and Lucky, that's bomb dropped in transition. Quez is doing everything he can to make this series competitive, but 3D Max, courtesy of the clock, are going to level things up.
So rough there. The fact that Mister has the whole of the site, but the issue is he physically can't get anyone else down there. They're probably unaware that they've got somebody on that B site, right? There's probably zero clue that someone's there, because Joko, he's posted up ramp, has Maka there as well watching it, so they can't go through and meet up via ramp. Lucky's already watching Secret, and yes, there's a hidden backstabbing agent in the wind, but they don't activate to alleviate any of this pressure, and there's no way for anyone to get there. And the bomb, as you said, dropped in the worst place. There were 2 kills that could have been got there. There were 2 players trying to cross, and if it had been the other, round would have been fine, but no.
Back to basics. Straight outside play. Iceberg gets the better of Lucky, and that opens things up now. 3 players swarming down lower, and nobody really there to meet them whatsoever from the CT side. They're just looking for the extremity picks. Maka will get it. Iceberg goes down, but Jocko caught in transition. Pistol out, trying to rotate into that lower site. I think realistically there's a decision to be made here if you're the CT side as well. You look down their finances, it's not pretty.
No.
They'll want something more for the last round of this first half.
That they will. And unfortunately for them, Sashi, what are you going to go 6 up at the half, potentially 7. This round does look kind of done and dusted. And Quez moving off here isn't going to award them the kill. I say that actually. This fight in lobby might catch one on the edge, but that's just going to be the decider. What a maniac.
He's really feeling it. He's really feeling it. Quez on a tear. 3 exits. Making absolutely sure that there's nothing safe forward for 3D Max. And this is going to be really rough now. It's the worst feeling in the world. You commit to the save. You make the tough call. And then you get all your rifles ripped out your hands anyway, thinking, what's the point? Why didn't I just give it a go? We look down the buy, and it's ugly. It's MP9s, it's XMs. These exits from Quez do so much of the heavy lifting for Sashi. Almost single-handedly giving them a route to 7. I mean, their exit kills, sure, but they are so impactful in the wider context. Yeah, 3 MP9s, a FAMAS, an XM.
I don't ever want to hear you use the word ugly and XM in the same sentence. It is a magnificent piece of machinery there. The issue that they have with it is that if anyone goes near Lucky, it's great. It's not a retaking space weapon. So if they head B, he's kind of not gonna have a great time.
First fight could be critical. Maka gets the drop on his man. Low HP, but he's dealt with Iceberg. Needs a little more, and Mister will find the trade. There's Gravity chiming in from Tetris. And making something of this round. This is where, as you said, that range really becomes Lucky's worst enemy. He wants to tuck in. He wants someone to take that fight, and Jocko just not quite able to win his. Has opened up an avenue potentially into this upper site. Gravity, they know he's tagged up. Can they find a way to break it open? Yes, they can. Lucky finds the shot. Exercise wants the swing and won't get it. And now that XM at range is never going to work. Sashi find the ascendancy 7-5 as we head to the half. Couple of moments of magic from Quez have bought Sashi 7-5. It's bought them an opportunity. Considering they lost that pistol in such thorough fashion as well. A fantastic comeback from them. But can their CT side live up to it? Or will 3D Max be the ones to run them over in this second half of map 1? If they do, it looks like a short road for Sashi. This map feels like a must-win. And well, they've brought plenty to the party in this CT pistol. Smoke, flashbang, Julie's in the hands of Lucky.
Yeah, it's got to be here. It's got to be the start. They struggled on their first pistol. Now, chance at redemption. Now, they're doubling up on ramp here. They do get a pick from Quez, but an immediate trade. And Mr. still holding the line here. Not yet being called upon.
Lucky's made the read. He's come back up the vent. Debated the idea of dropping down, but with Mr. not taking any contact, opts instead to go back to the upper site. And well, depending on how this fight goes, it may be the wrong call. Mr. on the angle needs a couple of quick headshots here to keep his team in. It does get the dink through the wall onto Jocko, but it's tags and not frags as they work their way down into lower. Iceberg fast into control is going to have a lot to do. They want this lower site. There's two players looking to lurk in control itself. Nobody quite taking the fight just yet. Another tap through the wall. Not quite the frag, but now Lucky comes in. Those Julies sing out for a double. And well, they want the fight 3D Max, but it's not working out for them at all. A quad kill from Lucky in the pistol. And those Julies work out brilliantly.
Woo, what a round there. Got a little bit scary. I think Mr. there, the plan to back off helped so much because Spots 4 kept going for the peak and I threw a grimace. I was like, no, don't go back out there. That's gets the dink, backs off it, and just trust the team to do the job as well. The quick rotates on through and 3D Max they've not got the ability to force into this round, much to their disappointment. We often see them force on their CT side even after a loss. This time, though, they're just going to take the L. They really can't afford to ruin their economy. They need to try and get something together. But Cabby, ooh, spots two, but only able to get one. Actually, very surprised and not sure where to look. And no one is looking back to clear him.
Just take the fight. Clearly they had an idea. They're going to stick to the idea come hell or high water. They get a kill out of it. So it's not awful, but realistically, like you said, probably should have been turning around. Probably should have been looking for the clearance. Either way, the round's done. It's in the past. It was Glocks only. Who really cares? This is where it gets interesting. 4 AKs out. Maka drops down to the Galil to get a little more util in his back pocket. Nobody sacrificing head armor as expected, knowing that MP9 is going to do a lot of heavy lifting if you do try and make some choices and try and give yourselves a little bit more breathing room financially. What's the call is the question. What ideas have 3D Max got? It's an interesting fight because 3D Max traditionally more CT-sided, Sashi traditionally T, so arguably on the worst of both of these teams' halves. 3D Max just settling into this one as passive can be in the opening seconds. Maka looking to line up some utility to maybe start things off.
Yeah, I say that and then everything just holds, doesn't it? You know, we're always like, yeah, they're getting ready. And then moments of silence. Now it's coming on through a little bit here. They're making some noise outside and it's distracted Iceberg a little bit. They're not really trying to take too much space off the back of it. Lucky's going to climb on down and back over towards ramp. And there's still a little bit of a back and forth going on outside.
Yeah, it's a couple of HEs from the CT side pop in the smoke. Cabby will find the opening onto Gravity. And now they're going to have to go to plan B. Maka does finally deal with Cabby, and it's Quez once more put in position. 1 for 1, but he baits them in nicely for Lucky to have some impact. The man advantage is set. Lucky's feet spotted as he hightails it up. Just about gets away with it into the upper site. Maka and Jocko up against the world here. Jocko's got to recover the bomb, and all these footsteps are being heard by the ramp player, Iceberg, in a fantastic position to have that impact. That's bomb down. 28 seconds on the clock. And 3D Max, you got to say it, just looking a little disjointed on their T side at the moment. 20 seconds left for Maka. Realistically, it's do or die. He doesn't want to be caught after time. Mister will get the kill. It's double digits for Sashi, and they are flying on the CT side at the minute.
Yeah, they are, and this is good. This is a good sign because this is the side that they've had some issues on Nuke with recently, specifically on this map. So the fact that they're kicking it off strong, they've got themselves on double digits. They buy themselves a buffer if things do start to go south. Because now 3D Max, they've got to double their rounds, and it's not going to be this round that they're going to have particularly the most amount of firepower to work with. This round, we're likely to see maybe a couple of Tech 9s. I'm not going to count them out though, mind you. We've already seen some crazy eco rounds, but time up being called for them to discuss what the plan of action is, because loss bonus can only take you so far, even on T side. So, a couple of bits of utility here. So there's clearly something in mind. It's just where they choose to head. And for Sashi here, it's been looking really good. The fact that they've been able to drop players down and have them on B just listening for that information, not going for those hyper-aggressive fights, willing to sit back and trust the team, has been winning them so much space, so many fights, just off the back of knowing.
Big call here for 3D Max. Techs are out. They pop flash themselves into the upper site. Iceberg full blind gets the kill, but this is what we wanted to see from Gravity. A couple of very early entries, buying a bit of space inside this upper site. Under siege now, however, swinging from the heavens. Quez once again. Anything Gravity can do, he can do one better. Maka left. Picking up the pieces in a 1v3. So many angles to consider as well. Lucky, he set himself up beautifully. Doesn't even need him. Cabby swings wide, finds himself the kill. And I mean, that's a 3v5 conversion. It's a tough situation, but realistically for 3D Max, they've broken into the site. They found themselves a couple of kills. It's 3v4 rather. They've got to be getting that bomb down and buying themselves an afterplant. Yeah,
it's a tricky one here. I like that they went for something a bit more aggressive. I think it catches Sashi off guard. It's one of the things, though, is that Quez, they've been very good at shutting him down. That he's been getting one frag, and that's kind of been it. And you can see it. When he's still left alive, he's dangerous. He's got this sixth sense and just knows, right? So the fact that they've been, for the most part, taking him down and out of the round pretty early on has been alleviating a lot of the weight off of them. And this time, forced to play a little bit more passively, and Sashi, they kind of thrive in situations like this. Lucky, the rotate already over. They've not got anybody ramp immediately.
Shot.
Yeah.
Takes the one and done, falls back off the angle. It's smart play from the AWPer. And again, that pressure is on 3D Max. Yes, they've got the control, but it's come at a cost. How do they look to leverage this situation? Again, just a little disjointed for my liking. Player down lower. Beautiful position from Quez as well. Just a matter of playing the timings, holding your spots. The bomb is still curious about this upper site, despite two players, Gravity and Exercise, fairly clearly trying to work their way down the ramp in towards B. 45 on the clock, and I think 3D Max realistically are waiting for an over-aggression here, but it's not coming through. Gravity and Exercise, they want this lower site. They want somebody to give them the peak. It's not coming out, and Gravity taking more and more nade damage as time goes on. He's toying with working out of this corner. Now he's spotted out. Now he's dealt with. Exercise. The next one's a fall. Quez is just a wall at the moment. Nothing is getting past him. And for these two remaining players, I mean, that was meant to be the B fake, and it's just an absolute slaughter. Nothing done on B, nothing done on A, and nothing done on Nuke for 3D Max.
That's it, that's my point, and it's just stunning. Quez the Chameleon just hiding in the backlines there. Doesn't move. Doesn't do anything. He sits there and waits, because you said 3D Max, they're waiting to try exploit an over-aggression, and Sashi is just not going to give it to them. They sort of went a little bit crazy. They had some hyper-aggressive rounds on the T side. They hit CT, they switch it up, and 3D Max has got no idea what to expect with the pace there, and suddenly they've got nothing really in the bank to defend this map.
This is a tough one. I think this is a reset. Judging by how many players there are in spawn. Either that or they're waiting out nades very, very passively. But it did immediately look like a reset round to me. So we will get a little bit of a moment of break to kind of take in what we've been seeing. And well, the fact of the matter is, right, the statistics have just done an absolute mischief here. Quez 17-9, Cavi 14-7. As much as 3D Max are giving them the opportunities to hit those shots, they are taking heads in a way I don't think any of us were expecting realistically, right? Quez has had an occasional habit of having a lights out series, but the numbers don't lie. He's not been consistent with it. And his numbers haven't been amazing. And out of nowhere, he is just taking fights left, right, and center. He is hitting all the headshots in the world. And almost single-handedly dragging Sashi through this map one. I mean, we talked about Anubis as if it was a done deal. If Quez walks in and is playing like this, I don't think it's as simple as that. No,
not in the slightest. This has been a switch up. And Quez, a player that I will shamefully admit has flown under my radar. Is one of those plays that you know, you're looking at the stats and, you know, it's a 0.94 rated player, so you're like, oh, so you're not expecting to see the biggest games come out of them. And then you see these just magnificent clips, and I was a little bit worried, like, you can vouch for this in the green room. I was like, hey, I'm worried because we've seen him on the T side having these really aggressive entries. You don't always get the same level of opportunity for those style of plays on the CT side. I stand corrected. He's been finding them. He's been finding these moments. And actually, leaving him alone on ramp has been working fine.
Slightly faster pace play this time from 3D Max, though. Trying to change the picture a little bit. Working their way into lower. If nothing else, trying to build a bit of confidence headed into map 2. Because this has been a tough schooling. Cabby ready for the drop. Ready for the flash. Lucky in with one more. And this one, once again, is falling apart at the seams. Fast-paced aggression through Hut from Iceberg. Sashi just brimming with confidence. Everything they touch is working right now. A dink from Quez onto Exercise. A single point of health. The AWP is overkill, but why not take it? 13-5. Sashi, on a map we thought would be close, on a map we felt could go either way, dominating their opposition and making a real case for this lower bracket run.
Oh, yeah, massively so, because we've said this is do or die, and Sashi, you come up against an opponent like 3D Max, who's been doing quite 3D Max. Hopefully they've managed to write this off. They're professionals, come into this clean slate, and this pistol round would be an amazing showing to start everything off.
Need to start on a positive note. It feels like they really had a lot of negatives coming out of map one. They are a team with experience, though. They are a team, as you said, who will know how to write this one off. Of course, taking the T side start and an early B cross, just they're going to storm straight to that B bomb. 1-for-1. Jock needs a little bit more. A man out of the sky, doubles it onto Cabby. This is more like it from the CT side. Lucky will stabilize somewhat, but he's being swarmed from all angles here, and Quez really isn't in a position to support. Does well to get one, but the trade is instant, and now it's all on Quez. He's been a hero for them on map one, but a P250 1v2 bomb in the middle of no man's land. This is a tough first angle to have to take a fight on. Swings it high, and 3D Max have their pistol.
Yeah, Joko's openings there were something else. Lucky found a good couple of kills there, brought it back to position, and even one more would have swung the entire round, but at least makes it a bit competitive. Quez, that bit of a lurk presence, I say lurk presence, just running in from behind and anywhere else on the map. Just a little bit too slow to find the impact, and as she said, weaseled into an angle that is so difficult to flush out with no utility left. So, rough one. They're not going to have anything much in this round. Lucky's gone for a deagle, and after what we saw last round, don't blame him in the slightest. 3D Max, this one, just be careful.
Yeah, don't do anything stupid. Farm up some cash. Build yourselves into the half, because realistically you don't need a whole lot out of your CT sides here. They're going to take an absolute brawl into canals, get the job done. They lose a man, but it's not the end of the world. Plenty of finances built up around it. Mac has farmed himself up some cash as well. Question is, what does Sashi bring to this first rifle buy? Heavy buy, plenty of utility, plenty of options to go for. Be intrigued to see which way they look to play it. They tried fast B on the pistol. It initially looked like it had legs, but Jocko inside of the site did fantastically. Will they go for a fast-paced play again, or are they going to settle into this one a little bit?
I think maybe trying something a little bit different with the pace here. Just sort of limit test what vibe 3D Max are going for themselves. Issue is Cappy not going to be able to even get a line of sight. Deep smoke is going to mean that is closed for business. Now, lovely first nade. Not going to reveal anyone. Maka quickly swarmed and taken down. There's the opening. We know what happens when they get the openings.
Well, there's a double out of nowhere. Jocko caught trying to aggress through connector. Give himself some kind of an angle to work with. Out of absolutely nothing. I mean, it's a little bit of a bonus round for the CTs, but not a massive one. Still fairly heavily invested into it. Just 3 rifles remaining on the server. There's a couple of players down low for the T side at the very least, and with Gravity holding on to aggressive B control, they can start to rotate these CT players into slightly more promising positions. Lucky drops down into the A bomb site. Exercise looks to work his way in towards connector, but with an A split on the cards, Lucky is going to be under a whole lot of pressure here. Just shifting their way through the angles for now. Sashi will work the problem and fairly swiftly realize that there's not a lot of cover here. Lucky doubles back, looks to try and have some impact in towards middle, swings for one, but the trade is instant. And realistically, that's the round at this point. Can't imagine Gravity and Exercise are going to give a 2v4 retake a go.
No, that kill was everything. You find that, you kind of stop it. Even then, it gets a bit dangerous because you lose that opening pick. Yes, 3v3, but the rest of your team are so far away regardless. So yeah, save going to be called here. They've got a nice little bit to hold on to. Armor, head armor for both of them. Weapons, utility. No kit in sight, so that's another reason they definitely can't go for this one. But Sashi, it's whether they choose to go hunting for this. They shouldn't. They really don't have the money to. I think they've maybe got the idea that this is going to be a save, so just stay close by, make sure that you can carve yourself a path out.
Should be allowed to relatively freely, as you said. It's a bit of a handshake between the two lineups, knowing neither really has the money. Sashi want to build up a bank account, don't want to go hunting too much. 3D Max desperate to hold onto their rifles and util, try and make something out of the next round. Could just about squeeze a buyout around this if they want to go that way. And considering the economic situation of Sashi, they might want to give it a roll of the dice, and that's what they're going to do. Drop 10-4-A1. Jocko will have to drop down onto a lesser weapon to try and make it count. In fact, it's Gravity who's going to take the hit. Down onto the MP9, drops across, taking the sacrifice for the betterment of the team, but what do we see from 3D Max? Again, what's the adjustment? They tried to be a little proactive A main. Maka got caught on a timing, popping that net smoke. Huge amount of damage taken. Counter nades into A have tagged him up yet again. Where's the proactivity for this CT side? They want to fight for A main control. Maka and Exercise working their way to this angle. Lucky available to potentially provide overwatch if needed. For the time being, Sashi, they want this fight. 3 players in towards A main at the moment. They're just lurking in those canals, waiting for an opportunity.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. If they've been a little bit more proactive, 3D Max, in canals, they've kind of had Sashi trapped here on more than a couple of rounds, and now suddenly that timing slipped away, but that smoke is going to leave them stuck still in the middle of this map. And they don't really know where to go. They've drawn out so much utility, and they've got a hold on themselves, so this is going to be a fast, final, finishing burst to the round, but for the meantime, you know, anything from 3D Max, any insight towards canals, and they could have found a couple of very free kills.
They needed something. They needed to get proactive somewhere. The problem is they've now conceded the A bomb site. And realistically, this is going to be a tough old retake. They've got 1 kit in the hands of Lucky. They have got a fast A main flank coming in. There's timings on the board. Maka does manage to find 1. But very quickly, the kills are falling against them. Lucky still stuck in towards mid. Maka just spamming a smoke in the vain hope he can find something. But as Cabby deals with Lucky in towards middle, it is going to be another round written off. And another round where Iceberg is just going to go looking for exits and find them as well. Exercise stripped of his gun. Maka last up. Not really anything he can say or do about this. We'll just hope to maybe find an exit somewhere. Grab an AK-47 and save it down. Or is he going to try and be cheeky with it? He's not got the time to. But he's still lurking around like he wants to find a couple of kills.
Yeah, still going for it. Now, I think the issue is 3D Max, they had something really good going for them here. The utility early on keeps Sashi stuck. They find no foothold in map, and they're not even trying really. They just sit there in canals waiting out the utility, right? And as we said, 3D Max, they don't get proactive with it, so they don't even realize that they've gotten onto a good thing here. Like, they don't realize they've done an amazing start to this round because they don't have a look, they don't go for these peaks, so they don't understand the magic that's happening. And then they lose the round, they get stuck on pistols, and they can't afford to do that again this round.
Decent position at the very least. They've stacked up mid and a little bit of a read on Sashi, who are looking ahead in that direction. Spotted out a shoulder peek, and here comes the swing. M4 looking to trade it down as best it can, but it's a one and done on the angle. Nice shot from Gravity, though, and he manages to double it before he gets taken out of the server. Buys half a chance for Lucky to maybe do something magical. Buys as much space as he possibly could for his man. There's guns down on the ground as well. 5-7 up close and personal can do a lot of heavy lifting, but he can't quite rein it in. Quez gets himself another double kill. Sashi have their third, but it's not without consequence. Heavy losses in the round.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It's just Gravity there. Just the 2 back-to-back headshots just buys them a world of chance. And almost lined it up on Quez as well. Luckily, he manages to keep himself safe. But 2 for 1 in that position. Ooh, chef's kiss. But Sashi, luckily, it's an expensive round, but they've got the money in the bag now. And they can afford to kind of just keep rolling with this. Full pelter utility, the world's their oyster, and 3D Max. We've got a bit of a timeout coming on through here. We do have 2 Jokos in the server, so yeah, I'm assuming somebody is no longer in the realm of the living.
Have to wait and see how long this one takes to get to resolved. Hopefully it'll be relatively swift and we'll get through things without too many problems.
Yeah, it'll be...
But yet again, it's those individuals for Sashi. It really does feel like it's just players are popping off. And when you look back through the stats, you do see it very occasionally, and I'm going to put a very occasionally on there, when individuals like Quez, like Cabby, can just have a lights out series, just really show up to the fight. Feels like it's just set up perfectly for them and everything clicks. Unfortunately for 3D Max, that appears to be happening at the moment. Of course, it's worth bearing in mind how T-side leaning we see Sashi being on this map. It's like a 66-33 split. So realistically, they're going to need a very, very strong T-side to get something out of this. But at the moment, they're looking pretty damn solid. And 3D Max are letting them have the map, which, as you said, is going to cause them so many problems down the line. We need to see an adjustment, need to see some kind of aggression just to take map control away. I mean, we saw it from Gravity in, I'm going to go with round 2, where he took the B lane control and just presses Sashi into an angle. But at that point, they were already a man down, and it didn't really matter. We need to see more of that when they're in advantageous positions, when they've got something to work off of, so that they can potentially try and start reading into what Sashi are doing.
Yeah, true that. And on the subject of individuals as well, it feels weird because we see Mr. hasn't yet managed to get themselves on the scoreboard. And comparing something like that to somebody like Lucky, who has only managed to find themselves one, it feels very different. Because Mr's not really been called upon in any of these crucial moments yet. Hasn't found a kill because just hasn't been in a situation where it's been needed, it's been necessary in a round that they've been looking to contend with. Whereas Lucky's been in a position to need to do something and hasn't found it just yet. Is for ADR, you don't often see single digits. And I think most of the damage has been utility, if I'm not mistaken. A little bit of a support gremlin. Whilst we're here, we might be able to take a look at some of the other games that are going on, because of course we are not the only match that is happening right now. There are 3 games in total. Now, Saw versus 9 Pandas. 9 Pandas took map number 1. Sangle versus Namiga. Sangle took that map. And that's going to be a lights out series, isn't it? That's going to be throwing everything at the wall. What on earth is a save?
Oh, how I longed for that after Nuke. But we are back into the action here. Sashi 3-2 ups. Both teams on a full buy. Both teams arguably on a knife's edge at the moment. This one still does feel like it could go either way. And as soon as I say that, it's gone the way of a reset, because we didn't have enough technical issues just before. So feel free to keep filling other folks in on what the other games are doing, because we've got nothing else to talk about here.
Should we have a look at how the first maps actually went then? Because I've told everyone who's won the first maps. So, Saw versus 9 Panda. Their map number 1 was Dust 2, and it was a 13-6 to 9 Pandas on their map pick in their defense. Sangle versus Namiga. On Sangle's pick, they take the map 13-7. Pretty even at the half there. 7-5 at the half, and then it's just lights out on CT side for Sangle. So yeah, that's what they've been looking forward to. They've got some spicy casters there as well. They've got Grimmy Rana and Samantha on the A stream, and several Sheep and Wax and personal friends of mine actually is I've met them both at LAN, cast LAN together, and they got Chunjli. Very exciting to see. So yeah, they're a bit of a fun watch as well.
Of course, we're not suggesting that anyone go anywhere but
we're
watching
the best
this tech pause.
Oh yeah, no, exactly. Stay with us. Please keep us company.
Oh, slowly losing our mind through tech pauses. I mean, you had some pretty naff luck with them yesterday, and it looks like you're getting it again here.
I think it's me. I think there's a common denominator in all of this, and it's me. So yeah, Scriv and I yesterday, it was over in the Asia ECL playoffs. We had like a 25-minute tech pause because the entire team's boot camp power went down. So we had to wait for the power to come back up, and then the internet to come back up, and then for everyone to reconnect. But then we went 3 maps. All maps were 13-11. It was. We had cool time at 1. We finished at like 6. It was woof. But I think we are gonna head to a little bit of a break. Make sure that we can iron out all of the issues on our side. Make sure that you guys get the best game possible. So don't go anywhere. We will be back as soon as we can to resume the match.
Couple of technical issues out the way. The Gremlins have been banished, and it's time to lock back in. 3-2, 3D Max just about down against Sashi. Buy in their hands is not great, but it'll do. And they want the aggression into A main once again. Mister taking a ton of damage from it. Hot flash to try and get him back into the angle, but there's two players on the other side of this. A heavy lean towards A main for 3D Max to start things off. Desperate to get some control, and Jocko's won his fight as well to open things up.
Yes. Early damage taken on Mister, not able to find a trade. Maybe a little bit of information that there was multiple footsteps running away, but really nothing looking good for them. That utility not going deep enough to really sort Gravity out. So now have to keep pushing at it. Gotta be careful not to get caught here though.
Looks like they're going to just lean straight into this B play, which realistically is all they've actually really got working for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be a matter of if Mister can get this kill on Jocko. That will pretty much seal this round one way or the other. A 3 lean towards B is a nice read from 3D Max. They're in good positions to deal with the hit as it comes in, but with a little bit of utility over the top and Mister potentially getting that lurk kill, you could see a way this round could turn on its head. And here we go. Util over the top, front of the site. Is an aggressive angle from Macro. It doesn't quite land, but Jocko does deal with the second punch. The player in towards Canals is down. Jocko's position known for now, but 3-on-3, he's just got to buy time. Just got to stay alive for as long as he possibly can. Fades away from it with a headshot onto Quez. And as this bomb goes down, life gets very, very tough for the boys on Sashi. Yes, they've got a little bit of sight control, but realistically, they're out in no man's land. 2 quick kills go against them. And it's lucky on lucky, and a 3-on-1. Never going to happen. 3D Max start to settle the score.
Mister needed that kill. Mister absolutely needed to find something there to alleviate the pressure, because that's the issue, is that Joko got 2 kills. He just sits in connector and he can just continue to be a menace there. You know, it stops you getting the plant. You have to constantly worry about him being there. You don't... Yeah, you've got a little bit of utility flush him out, but it's not really enough. He's already too deep. He's already living rent-free in the back of their minds, and so Mister needed to have found the kill. The rest of the team just too much pressure on their shoulder, and then every kill just was another disadvantage on the tally. So difficult one. Still got the advantage, and they've got the last little drip feeds of their money coming on through here. Now, no deep smoke early on. I say that. A little bit late to the party there, but it does mean that Cabby's not going to be able to spot anything out.
Ooh, good spam damage from Lucky. Tags up his man on the other side of the mid-smoke, and again, Sashi just settle into their default. Fairly standard, fairly identical to the previous round, if we're honest. Just trying to put a little bit of pressure onto the CT side after the initial bout of nades have been exchanged. Start to work their way into a couple of angles and try and maybe work some aggression out of this CT side. It's a heavy lean towards B, and Jocko has ripped the head clean off of Quez. Leg shot comes out from the AWP. Just not quite able to finish his food at the moment, and the other Lucky will do just that. Cabby goes down in mid, and once again, this round has been shattered by the CT side of 3D Max. Yes, Iceberg gets one back, but he's out on a limb. Lucky continuing to find impact just all over the extremities of the map at the moment. With an AWP in the hands of Lucky, it's going to get very tough to get anything at all. Jocko wants the re-aggression, and Jocko will have it on an absolute tear in towards Connector at the moment. And it leaves Lucky 30 seconds to try and stitch together a 1v4, and it's not painting a good picture. Finds his first shot, but does he expect the second man? Hiding behind Cake. Lucky plays the timing really nicely here. Just has to sit and wait, and he knows it. Not give away any sound cues, not give away any information, and get the free kill. 4 on the board for 3D Max, and their CD side starting to look very, very solid.
Yep, this is everything they could ask for and more. Sashi, it looked like they had something starting to go for them. The break, they seem to have gone cold over. But Mister, the fact that Mister's not found anything, we're going into round number 8, not a frag, I don't even think an assist at this point, so it's looking particularly rough, and for a team that we've been highlighting for having these individuals, he needs to be one of those individuals stepping up, you know? But for 3D Max, they're just sitting back. These early fights going so heavily their way. Exercise just single-handedly ruining their day. And all it needs to do, sit in mid, and they can't take these early fights, and that's a large part of what they try to do on their T side here.
Line them up and knock them down, just heading in. I mean, they're not heading in one by one. They're grouped up, but they're one behind the other. It just makes that trade impossible. It's never going to land, and the rifles fall by the wayside without so much as a whimper. A perfect round from 3D Max. All 5 kept up, 5 on the board. It's all the 5s, and I mean, we spoke about how Sashi needed this T-side to click. If they were going to take this in 2, if they were going to be able to force the issue, they had to keep that momentum from map 1. And, well, you can look down the numbers and realise that's not the case whatsoever. An initial spree off the back of the pistol, sure, but once the rifles have come to play, it really has been 3D Max's day.
Looking to take this fight again. Last time they ran through the Molotov, it caused problems. And Maka, opening pick there. The HE is huge.
Just feeling it.
Yep. Flow state. And look, they're going hunting for it as well. There's no reason not to. You know that you've got them scared. You know that you've got them cornered back into their own spawn. Why not?
It's a nice bit of conditioning as well from 3D Max. We've not really seen them pull out the Canals aggression card. They do it against the half buy. Now Sashi have got to consider it next time the rifles come out. Just giving them another angle to consider. Initially, this T side looks so strong, and out of absolutely nowhere off the back of the tech pause, 3D Max have just kicked it up a gear. Finding a fantastic vein of form, which we know they've got in them, right? We've seen it from them before. We know this is a team capable of fighting with pretty much the best of Tier 1 when it's their day. We also know they struggle with consistency, so being able to get into a vein of form like this, start to see the individuals firing off once again. Jocko, 12 and 5 at the moment, just completely owning that connector area and just giving Sashi nothing to really work with, no room to breathe, as once again he's going to go searching ahead of the T-side smoke. Doesn't spot too much out, but it's another very passive default from Sashi that's not really netting them any wins anymore. Those initial rifle rounds, sure, it worked. They caught the aggression of 3D Max, but that gimmick's up and they don't seem to have another option at the minute.
Yeah, all of these smokes cause issues because they can't now play in canals, and they're so hesitant to even try push B. They've been burnt before. Mister trying to find the opening pick, finally gets himself on the scoreboard and an opening frag. This is where they've been letting rounds slip. Now, have to convert it. And you can see 3D Max immediately, they peel back a little bit. They were going a little aggressive, having a look. No, now they sit down. Gravity gonna have something of a nosy, and that shut down.
Nice angle from Lucky, just playing on the cracks, not giving Gravity any room to work with. Takes the head off. This point should be a done deal. 3D Max feel like they've got a read on the situation. They'll rotate Maka in towards that B-bomb site. Try and provide a little bit of a supporting element. Iceberg, again, a little isolated. Mister wants to press the issue over towards A, but hasn't really got time to call the support line to try and pull this bomb back towards that secondary site. Or has he? 25 seconds on the clock and they will just bail out of B entirely. 4 on 3, Mister with full control, but this is the timing here. If Lucky could have landed that headshot, it could have been something. Maka wants to cut them down in mid before they get to that A site. Lightning onto Cavi. Molotov licking at his feet, but he wants more blood. He's going to swing wide with the Deagle. Jocko there with him, and somehow they fought a 1v1 and there's no more time to plant. It's all done, boys. 3D Max have 7, and how on earth have they stolen that one away?
It's not even the fact that Lucky stalled them. Yeah, stalled them for about a second. It's the fact that they've already managed to call rotates over towards mid. If there'd been nobody there, they could run onto site, probably still get the plant down. Would have been close, don't get me wrong. But the fact that Maka is there already stops everything, because you have to stop and deal with him. He's got the first pick as well. Bomb was still available. I don't think it had been popped, but you just couldn't get past him. Oh, just a lovely quick rotate there. But Sashi, they look like they were onto something. Exercise is pulling out the org, and that's how you know it's a good day in the office.
It's just been a lack of connector control for Sashi. They've tried to go there 2 or 3 times in good positions, and Jocko's had it absolutely on lock. And a very quiet first map. Didn't really see much of him at all. 3 and 15, in fact, is the final figure. Looking to make amends here on map 2 and doing just that, as Sashi, you can see they're recognizing how important this position is, looking to prioritize it. Lucky with an initial peek here. This time Iceberg and Mister looking a group, but that's a lovely HE. Smoke to follow up into the angle as well. For the time being, Sashi just feeling a little bit trapped in their positions. Can't do too much with it. Second HE follows up, and this time Iceberg will get the better of gravity, but once again, Jocko is there. The trade is instant. And with no Mister, who has opted to fall off towards the stairs, again, this hit becomes so one-dimensional. 3 players inside of the site. Lucky goes 1 for 1, sure. And out of nowhere, there's so much presence inside the site itself. There's a backstab coming in from Lucky all the while. And if he can deal with this AWPer, this round is good and done. Maka gets the kill in the end, but Mister, surely no way he can pick up these pieces. A 1v2 to contend with. Maka gets caught by the swing, but the trade is there regardless.
This would have been so much more of an effective hit if, whilst they're pressuring that connector, right, that they do something out main, right? Because they've got this distraction, they've pulled over people, right? And yes, we can see that they've got all of the attention that's on B over towards connector, right? But if you're putting such a heavy emphasis on this, right, and everyone's over towards B anyway, why wouldn't you want to try use this moment where they're a little bit scared, a little bit panicked, they've got 2 angles to watch now? Why would you try attack it once and then a second time with a delay? Go for it together, cause this divide.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see some of the problems with this map. Sashi just not looking comfortable on it whatsoever, although Mister finally gets the better of Jocko in towards Con, and it leaves Gravity an isolated figure inside of sight. He's managed to do well. Grabs himself a first kill, looks to reset. Molotov goes down, he'll play around the pillar, but it's a 1 for 1. It's Mister finally starting to have a little bit of impact. Exercise not looking comfortable either, as it's a 3v4 after plant. They'll have to give this one a go, the CT side. They don't really have a choice, and Exercise is making it viable. 2 quick kills, Lucky in with another. And somehow, what was an advantageous situation has left Mister in a 2v1. He's not had the best of games so far. 2 entries to start this one off. Can he find the 2 exits required to finish it? No real information on the second CT side player. Now he hears the footsteps. Now he knows he's being pincered in. Gotta land the shot. Lands 1. Spray transfer's good. Tons of damage done, but can't quite finish it. Not quite enough damage. Lucky doesn't realize he's got a kit. Goes searching for one, but it's going to be irrelevant. The T side is in tatters. 9-3. 3D Max looking to dominate. Well, the one saving grace for Sashi is that 3D Max managed no T-side rounds on Nuke. If they do that again, they will be in trouble. The problem is they're 9-3 up this time, and Anubis is such a T-side stronghold. Sashi struggling to have any impact at all. Players going cold left, right, and center, and all the pressure firmly on their backs. As 9-3 down, this pistol becomes a must-win out of nowhere. Flash and a smoke, and a fast-paced A play to come in here for the T side. They're going to disrespect the smoke. The Dealies are in good spots here, and they need to find some quick kills. One and done, but Cabby is there. Iceberg follows up, and finally, Sashi have something to write home about.
Blink and you miss it kind of pistol round there. That is the vibe to get going with. Completely different switch up there, and actually something that we've been talking about, how Sashi going for these aggressive plays out of nowhere. The pace was really what helped them over on map number 1, switching it up, playing sometimes passive, sometimes bring out these wild rounds, and it works really nicely this time around. But gotta see them convert it. 3D Max, they haven't fought up and they haven't forced into this one. No, bomb plant does make it a little bit of a painful one to do. Maka has a deagle, but that is about it. And towards mid they head. Cabby and Lucky, they're going to need to be the floodgates here. And actually, yeah, that's it. Boom, done, easy, simple. Convert the round. GG, go next.
Yeah, didn't need to see it. Happened as quick as you like. The round's gone. Now we get to the interesting stuff. Rifles out for 3D Max. First opportunity to see what they're really made of. We've mentioned it time and again how T-sided leaning Sashi are, but they're going to be able to pull out some, let's call them wild cards coming into this one. Lucky gets his AWP in his hands. Quez opts to drop down, stick with the MP9 to maybe get up in the faces of some of these T-side players a little bit more. Only man taking the sacrifice on the T-side is once again Maka. 3D Max drop him down to a Galil to allow a little bit of extra util to come through. As Mister, but he looked a little surprised that smoke even landed, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, some people are still getting used to having to jump throw. I know it's sort of muscle memory for a bunch of people, so we've got to forgive some of the missed smokes and stuff, but sometimes they're those really, really picky ones that it's just a pixel in it, so, you know, good that they landed the smoke. Curious to see if anything's going to come off the back of it. It's a slow approach. Lucky, going to be jump scared up close. Holden, waiting for it. Patience of a saint.
He's going to get double picked on the timing here, and he just swings a little too wide on the flick. Gravity gets the opening, and now Cabby, under a lot of pressure, does well to trade his AWP as Death gets caught in the transition, down to 8 HP. His SMG and support is dead at Death's door. He's done for as Jocko doubles up, and, well, that's round over. Simple as you like. A missed shot from the AWPer. Cabby, I mean, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place there, realistically. Does very well to even get one, but far too quick on the trade. And, well, with that MP9 in the hands of Quez, we were quick to sing his praises on map 2, so map 1, rather. So I think we've got to do the opposite here. Lacking the impact, couldn't find the kill up close and personal, just tagged out, dealt with. Leaves Cabby at 8 HP inside of the site. It's never going to happen. Double digits for 3D Max. As soon as the rifles come out, they look to shut this map down and force it the distance.
Yeah, I was super excited to see this. A little bit let down by what we saw. I thought that Molotov was really going to hold back, you know, the 3D Max players, that they'd be able to retreat back further onto site and keep A safe, or at least wait for the rotates to come on through. But no such luck. They push through the Molotov, catch him off guard, and rough way to continue this on up. Money is foul as well. There is no sugarcoating this one.
Yeah, it feels like we're at about the stage now where we start thinking about Ancient and we start to form our opinions on it, because it feels an inevitability. It doesn't feel like Anubis has got too much more to give us. They will force out a buy here. Sashi gets some bits and pieces, but it's a bit of a charity shot buy. Limited util. Cabby drops down to the MP9. Only one player with a kit, and that's Mister. Question is, what can they do with it? Cabby wants the aggression. He wants to dive down into the canals here, and he does just that. Actually manages to fade a second smoke, catch a bit of a timing, but he needs his teammates to back him up here. He needs Quezzy to stay alive, and it's not going to happen. Cabby might have a backstab for one here, but how much more can he realistically get out of this situation? What does the trigger discipline look like? One and done. And now he's out on an island, deep in the depths of spawn. Jocko looking to hunt him down and finding him. And with Quez going down in these opening seconds, what was such a promising early lean for Sashi has fallen apart in what feels like an instant.
Yeah, it looked good. That's the issue, though. You go out, you are on an island, you're at this extraneous little bit of a backstab. It does mean that when you get into situations like this, you may have slipped the net on the way in. You've got to try slip the net on the way back out. And 3D Max, nope, their defense is impenetrable with this one. I say that whilst they're on the attacking side here, but they've just got this map on lockdown, and that's been the thing, is map control for them has been monumental. On the CT side, it was mid. They were shutting down mid, and they had complete control of connector. And that sort of damned all of the plans that Sashi had. Now, Lucky senses the flashbang, but the issue is going to be forced forward into 3 different fights and only going to win one of them. Iceberg quick to try run on over, but the issue is so much util still left in the bank just to stall this out. 2v3. It's going to be a rough one if they even want to look at it.
They're giving it a think, but Iceberg needs an instant kill here, and it's not going to happen. Jocko back where he feels most comfortable in the connector. Cosplaying his CT side and doing a damn good job of it. 11 on the board for 3D Max. Mr. forced to resign himself to the save, and again, it really just comes down to those fights going the way of 3D Max. It feels very almost the other side of the coin from Nuke, where we saw so many fights coming up trumps for Sashi. Everything they touch turned to gold. This time, they're taking the fights. They're pushing themselves into the angles, but 3D Max are warm now. Exercise is 15-8. Jocko's 20-9. They're not going to let themselves go quietly, and they found that extra gear, which looks all but inevitably to force us to Ancient, as this economy is shattered for Sashi.
Yeah, this is rough, because even going into next round, they're going to have nothing to defend this map with. If they can find maybe a little bit of an early pick, we saw them on the pistol, where they just overwhelmed. They swarmed over towards main, and they just sort of farmed up. It does look like going to gamble stack, and you hate it. Breaks my heart. You hate to see it. The wrong site.
Tough hold for Mister here. Aka set up. Looking for the early pick. Smoke goes down. He'll play the timing. Looks for it. Opts to back out. Mister trying to show a bit of force. Try and keep this T side busy. Keep him guessing as long as he possibly can. But alert smoke goes out. Second smoke follows up from Mister, who's really doing as best a job as you could possibly imagine of selling a heavily occupied B-bomb site. 2 smokes dropped. Spamming through. Keeping his presence busy as can be. And he's actually forced the hand of 3D Max away slightly. They don't want to commit into that B-bomb site based on the information they've seen. Instead, they're going to start working their way through mid, and there's aggression into the canals here. Lucky gets 1. The MP9 swarm and 2 kills as quick as you like. Exercise flashed by his own teammate, won't find the trade. But now he's got an avenue. Into that A-bomb site he heads. Quez stuck on the T stairs, dispatched of by Lucky. And again, it's a promising early situation that they've got to hold on to into the mid-round. Cabby can't afford to get caught here. Beautiful flashbang in by Maka, and he's dealt with swiftly. This round feels like it's another one where such promising early seconds will so quickly fall apart. This was another 5-on-3 scenario that they're going to try and drag themselves back into. Mister, a lovely headshot for the first as he looks to head down connector. Joins up with Iceberg. Maka just playing for time, playing for space, gets the initial kill for Lucky, but the swing won't find the second. Sashi not quite done yet.
Is this the comeback? Is this the one? Because it's these rounds that they've looked really messy on, that they bought back, that they, if you looked at the buy, shouldn't have won. Especially with how they were playing these MP9s. But they make it work. I got really nervous here because the crossfire they'd established here looked like surely, but between Lucky and Maka, that they had each other covered. But nope, just a small window where one can go down without the other. Timeout being called to figure out how to capitalize off of a miracle here, because they're going to need to double their rounds and then some to keep this game going if they want to close this out in 2. But we'll say we came into this map with big question marks above our heads, because of course Nuke was a must-win, in our opinion, for this. This was a map that we came in knowing that Sashi, they're particularly not very strong on. Trying to be nice about it. They've got a 30% win rate. This is the lowest win rate of the maps that they actually play. And they play it a fair amount. So the fact that they play it so much and still aren't the strongest at it is telling. But they've bought themselves a little bit of room to work with. Cabby on a FAMAS, you know, not sure what we're going to be seeing coming out of that. He's been one of the top guns, but needs to find some more. Joko already ahead of all of this. Has to wait out the Molotovs, and Cabby in the smoke. Now desperately trying to feel out for any information and going to be awarded nothing but footsteps.
Change the pace up, trying to charge into that A site, but Lucky's done well to grab one, and that was the kill, Quez. He gets that, and they've held the site. Instead, it's 2-on-2. Cabby doing very well to trade another through the edges of the smokes, but a 2-on-2 after plant once more. We've been here before on the CT side, and it took everything they had to make the retake a reality. This time, Exercise and Jocko, the old duo, to try and make it happen. Stuck behind a smoke for now. Cabby does have a kit, so they can afford to wait this one down if they want to. Jocko set up on the fishtail. Exercise out towards A main. The initial swing as the flashbang comes over. Nice Molotov. Now they swing wide. Cabby deals with the first. That bomb already a long way gone, and they know where the last man is, and it will be Cabby. Kit on his back to find 7. It is going down to the last man every time, and it took a quad kill from Cabby to make it a reality, but Sashi are not done with this map yet.
That's another one where Sashi's pulled something out the bag when 3D Max have just supposedly looked better. They send Exercise to go clear canals. Hears and sees nothing. Has a large line of sight. Knows that they're safe from that angle. And knows that they're either going to be coming elsewhere from mid, from spawn. Or they're saving, right? So they could reinforce those locations. And so they have less angles to hold. Less angles to support each other from. And they're just allowing these kills to come on through. It's a matter of, you said, the individuals just stepping up in these moments. Cabby with a 4K to put himself 18 and 13 here. It's... and I think the other thing, Joko has been struggling a little bit the past couple of rounds. They've been managing to make sure that he's not running away with these awesome entry kills, these awesome opening picks. And so, keep that up. Maybe potentially we see this gap close a little bit more. They've got a slight advantage on this round. It's a very weird and wacky buy here. But a chance, a hope. And it's again off the back of a round that they weren't expected to win.
Not left themselves a lot of breathing room here.
No.
It's going to have to be perfect. It's a weird buy, as you said, from both sides of the equation. 3D Max perhaps more so. Tech 9 in the hands of Lucky. Gravity drops to the Mac 10. There's the initial swing. There's the initial contact. Lucky Zorp not quite able to find the connection it would have wanted. With a heavy-handed lean, they're going to look for the A main control ahead of the Molotov. Quez, he's had such a tough time, and once again, he's ripped straight out of the server. Cabby does very well to trade it. But a 4-on-4, a T-side won't mind whatsoever. Looking to now potentially run down this B-bomb site. Maka selling it onto A as best he can, keeping so many bodies occupied. Just creeping his way through the steps as the bomb looks to join up through connector. Still 2 towards this B-bomb site for now, but Iceberg has got to reconsider mid. And that will buy a little bit of a timing. Molotov out, Mister. We've seen him buy time here before. He's done a fantastic job of it. It needs to be perfect again. Spray down is good for 1. Plays around the Molotov. Isolates the Tech 9. Now Jocko looks to swing in, and with no bullets left, Mister will go down. 3-on-3. After plant on the B-bomb site. We've not seen one of these retakes yet from the CT side. Sashi in a decent spot. The after-plant position's yet to really be occupied beyond the B main player. That Molotov from Maka is huge, though. Iceberg has to respect it. The bomb ticking further and further away, and there's only 2 flashbangs to get them back into this site. Maka spotted again, but just buying more and more time for his team. Sprays down 1. Jocko is there for another, and that's job done. 12 on the board, and we will be at map point here on Anubis.
so much to unpack from that round there. The fact that 3D Max, that they rotate off of hearing the AWP, knowing that they've bolstered up over towards this B a little more. They go A, they're not finding success, but they keep enough people over towards A to buy themselves enough time for that bomb to rotate, but for not many CTs to get suspicious that it's gone quiet. They dump a whole load of utility over towards A, and it gives them the opportunity to get onto site. And Sashi, before they really know what's up, boom, gone, as you said. No HP, they have to respect the Molotov. There was a kit available, but the issue is they had so much time to bury themselves back out into main, into connector, and they had nothing left to try work out any players hidden in those angles. So, tough one. And Sashi and the retakes aren't always the brightest stars in the night sky. Opening pick here. Needs to go their way, but oh god, it's not a goodbye.
Deagle 5-7, 2 MP9s to try and support that saved AWP. There is aggression from Sashi. They have managed to take that B main control. Iceberg will be left on the Deagle to hold it as long as he can, and the rotation will start to come in. How quickly can it make it is the question. Cabby shouldering, spots out one. Lucky deals with the B play, and it is going to be this pop into A. 157 and a dream for Cabby. He does well to even find one. Quez finally shows up on the MP9 for another, and a couple of laboured sprays from Mister by half a chance for this CT side, but Lucky is there to steady the ship once again. The bomb will bay a little head to B, and Quez, well, his position is known. 6 and 15. He has had a tough map, and he's got to pull off what is probably the most improbable clutch he's had yet.
Yeah, certainly this time. The only thing he's got going for him is now kind of the element of surprise, but they know which site he was on, so they're just going to dump utility over towards here, expecting him not to have gone around the world, and that smoke hurts. He's just going to disrespect it, though.
Doesn't have a choice. Nothing he can do but try, and he gets one. Quickly traded down by Lucky. 13-7. We will need the third map to split these two rosters apart. It's 13-5 on map 1, 13-7 on map 2. 3D Max showing us a lot more of what they're made of here, and just putting a bit of disrespect into Sashi realistically. That 9-3 T-side half, CT half even, absolutely monstrous from them.
Yeah, don't even know what to say. That a nuke was such an issue is that it got too out of hand too quickly. There wasn't time for 3D Max to try rein anything back in there. So the starts of all of these maps have been the super important bits as well, because yeah, there's always a second half, but if you have such a good start, then your opponent doesn't have the chance really to come back, and that's the issue that Sashi had last map. Is 3D Max, they hit 11 so quickly, and yeah, they managed to bring it back a little bit, but being so close to that map point for so long, there's just nothing, and 3D Max, they're already on site.
Reed, Quez is stuck in cave. They'll try to take the long control, take short with 2. Bomb goes down. 5v5 after plant. I mean, there's a smoke and a kit. Iceberg has that in towards CT. There is a ton of presence in towards CT as well. But Gravity, welcome to the server, mate. 2, make it 3. Round is done. Quez, he's going to try and be cheeky with it. And, well, Choco will let Lucky go down in the process. That's a scary sight for Sashi, because that felt like a hard read on their pistol. The smoke goes deep, much deeper than you'd normally see it, but it completely locks Quez out of the situation. Bomb goes down, and a 5v5 after plant. I mean, that close and personal, the Glocks just take it every day of the week.
Yeah, I think Choco was also a bit surprised at the audacity of somebody to just walk out, like Quez just to walk out in front of him. You can see him hesitate for a second, like, that's just gone. But, you know, good start for them. That's the round that we want to be seeing. 3D Max clearly still coming into this, rolling from the last Iceberg, getting up close, senses a little bit of presence, is going to desperately try run away, and is going to get tagged up in the meantime. But a bit of an idea that Sashi lower by, potentially a gamble stack, and they know that they are going to have multiple here.
Farming time for the Mac-10s. Rifles in support. Simple stuff executed well. Lucky does grab one. Should be able to get that rifle distributed across without too many issues, though. Nothing really to write home about. It's another one of those rounds where, yeah, they try something a bit cheeky, go 5 towards the B-bomb site, see if maybe you can stack it down. Doesn't quite land, but at the end of the day, you're not expecting anything out of it anyways. This is where we'll start to ask some questions of Sashi. Good buy, good util. Rifles across the board, and what's the adjustment? Let's see how this CT side wants to pan out.
They're going to try to get ahead of that early util, and actually they're going to run it down. They can't even head back into Donut here, really, so just take the space. They've kind of backed into a corner. The flash is awesome, but the thing is, Maka is better. Lucky does manage to keep the numbers even, but Gravity, that's the final piece of the puzzle, and player advantage once again. And we saw this time after time on Anubis, and here we are once more.
Lovely deep CT Molotov as well. Iceberg will just skim around the edges of it. The 2v3 after plant, I mean, I know I said the A site was retakeable, but these kind of situations are not fun. Well placed in the after plant as well. A 3D Max 2 towards the donut. Exercise just working the angles in A main. And with Quez slow to join up, Iceberg will tank the nade, and that will be the round. Good and done. Lovely stuff from 3D Max. I mean, Sashi, you like the idea. You can see where it comes from. They try and take a very proactive stance down mid, but they just get stuck. There's a molly towards the scaffold, so they can't work their way up on that angle. And once you're down bottom mid, if you can't get anywhere from it, you are just sitting ducks. Hot flash goes over the top. You've got two players just completely blind. I mean, look at this. Maka is just running and gunning on the Mac 10. And as much as Lucky tries to save his teammates out, that then leaves him on an island, isolated in towards middle. And that's kind of the duality of that mid play. If you're going to do it, it's fine, but you've got to commit to something. You can't just sit at the bottom of mid because you're going to get punished.
Yeah, Lucky, just too late to the party. Knew what was going on with his teammates getting trapped out there, but not able to quite save either of them in time. Does manage to pull the round back a little bit, but they're going for the super aggressive play once again. And even with the low HP, still manages to find one.
Dinks up a second as well. Exercise down to 19.
Can't complain of that.
Makes it feel sketchy. Lucky's up close here with a 5-7 of his own, and there's the M4 swinging for the trade. Not quite found by Jocko, and Quez bringing it back to map 1 with a quick double kill on the M4 to leave Lucky in Exercise. I mean, Exercise on such low HP, realistically, can't be expected to do much of anything here. And Lucky, well, he's playing with fire and he's going to get burnt. Quez adds to his tally in this round, 3 for him. And as Cavi finishes off Exercise, I mean, this was a complete half buy. And somehow Sashi have made it stick, and it's off the back of that mid control again. Cavi goes close, and this time they commit to it. Right, we're going to fight up close, and then we're going to go for scaffold, and it works out.
Where was that, mate, last map? Already getting close to the number of kills he had, finishing Anubis, and we are round 5 now. So we talked about the individuals, and it's been a case of that quite a bit, hasn't it? That the individuals have been making the plays for Sashi. And this is another example of them. It always starts with the messy buys to them. This time, Cabby, once again, hurling themselves down mid. Maybe a little bit surprised that teammates said the issue is the flashbang. They've got no purpose again.
Same problem. They're sat there. They're playing the crossfire, but there's not a way in hell that that's not going to get punished by 3D Max. Just working their way into this bot mid control and then sitting on it, trying to play anti-flash, but 3D Max have played this map enough times to know to clear their corners. They do just that. They buy themselves the man advantage, and now they buy themselves a brawl in towards that cave. Lucky can't quite find the initial trade, and Quez is back to his antics again. A second. He keeps that control and buys his teammate just half a chance to get into a position here. Lucky switches it out, swaps for the AK-47. Knows there's a low HP bar on his teammate, so he's really going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. They look to work their way down towards the ramp, playing as a unit. Quez will look to bait and switch. Smoke towards top makes it difficult, though. Quez is going to have to disrespect this. Hasn't really got the time to do anything else. Barrel spotted, dealt with. And now Lucky on his own. 1v2, no smoke for the bomb. He's trying to clear out these corners, but the crossfires are established. And Gravity sprayed down will get him his 8th. It's 3D Max again. And again, it's just off the back of that mid control. It's not really working for Sashi. They don't seem to have an idea what to do with it once they've got it.
Yeah, they've been very, very eager, but there's no clear intent with it. Is they hold themselves down and they keep losing these kills. And I think probably 3D Max more surprised not by them being there, but by the fact that they're still there 3 rounds after this hasn't worked for any of them. So something needs to be changed. This round, a little bit more passive. 3D Max, they're not going to be able to take... I say he's not going to be able to take it. They managed to get the mid-control themselves. The HE to pot the smoke's going to find them an opening. Exchange a little bit of utility. Different pace and clear intention this time. They're not going to run it down, but now they have to refocus over towards A.
It's a big fight. Cabby can't quite find it. Gravity with another kill to his tally. Now the A site is under siege. They do have a man in Donut. Lucky, well placed. It's all on the timing of his AWP, though, and he does land it. Jocko goes down, burning alive. He will be traded, and through the smoke, charging is Mister. The trade's continuing to come through, but it's buying time and buying space. Bomb out in no man's land, and Iceberg capitalizes on the chaos. Buys a little bit of space in a 1v2 now for Lucky. Never going to happen. Iceberg swings on it, and Sashi not going to stop swinging here. They are up for the fight on Ancient.
I really don't know how the spam onto the smoke that Quez was stood in didn't reveal him. Because I didn't know, A, how the bullets didn't hit him, and B, how it didn't part the smoke enough for him to be seen. Honestly, mist in mirrors here. But yeah, lovely stuff. The issue that 3D Max are going to have now is that Sashi, they pull back. They're clearly not got much intent in mid. So they're going to be focusing more on that donut play, right? Which means they can rotate as they hit A from main a little bit easier. Thing is, they're now just shutting down the players in donut. So that's a little bit of a winning formula for them. I'm quite surprised it didn't work out for them, but Sashi, yeah, a lot of individuals having these great moments, great clips, and 3D Max this time on Tech 9s. We're not going to write them out, though, because, I mean, we've both been casting this series for, what, like 3 hours now? We've seen more than enough Tech 9 rounds, so big one to win here. 3D Max would love to see something hyper-aggressive.
Lucky's going to post up, knowing the firepower's a little slim. Can afford to take some risks. Knows there's likely not the util to clear him off this corner. There's the first. Spots out another. Cabby's there to support any kind of scaffolding flank that wanted to come through. Really well set up by the CT side. And at this point, really Max clutching at straws a little bit. 2 rifles and a tech remaining. The initial play for mid-control has failed. What does the switch up look like? Bomb going to work its way back down towards the B bomb site. But in the meanwhile, Sashi made a lovely little read. See a couple of techs, know the firepower's not quite there. They creep their way down the B ramp. Now it's just a game of playing those timings. Quez, nice angle, deals with exercise. For Jocko and Gravity, it's just about picking up what pieces they can. Gravity will work his way into Dig. See if maybe there's a fight to be taken, but for now, Sashi playing this one smart. Not getting overly keen on the peaks, despite having a significant advantage, just falling back. They'll let them work their way up onto the site and then look to establish crossfires from there.
Yeah, the proactivity from Sashi's defense here, that's something that we saw was sorely missing, the proactivity over on Anubis. This time, they're getting ahead, they're trying to find this information. Ooh.
Lovely shot from Gravity, but again, there's the crossfire. The line of sight is there. The flashbang, really nice. And Quez is going to continue to add to his tally. Went very quiet on map 2, but he's ready to fight on the third. 9 and 3. Another triple to his name, and well, some big questions to be asked for 3D Max. They went for the Force in the previous. That's not worked at all. This one's going to have to be the full eco.
Yeah, tie up the scoreboard for Sashi, hopefully. You'd expect to. But again, not holding our breath. They found some foothold. And actually, you know, sometimes rounds like that, they aren't as great as we'd hope them to be. We've seen some awesome rounds. It's been very hit and miss with these messy half buys and forces. And this time, Sashi, they've learned their lesson. They're not heading too far mid. A little bit of a peek there from Iceberg. Knows that there's something up. They're not willing to risk their life with the over-aggression. But the information this time, they've been trying to get it. And they've been able to work and play off of that a little bit better now.
Nice setup from Sashi, as you said, just setting it. Little bit of aggression down the ramp just to spot it out, knowing they're up against very little here. Only real risk is this P250, and well, he's going to be given a chance. Nice dink onto Iceberg, but almost immediately you can see the back out of the situation. The rotate's called across. Mister will look to join. There's still a ton of utility available for the CT side to try and plan out the round, and well, it's a bit of a gamble now for Sashi. They've pulled 3 towards B. It's going to be the mid pop. Cabby under a lot of pressure, but he's got no util to clear him out. He'll play the crosshair discipline initially. Lucky does find one, though, and now these Glocks look to overwhelm. A couple of quick kills, and Donut is wide open. It's going to be all on Lucky to try and land a couple of these flicks on the AWP. They're trying to dance around it, but he lands one, and now the AKs swing wide to support, and the kills just keep on coming their way. It's good damage, you have to say it, for 3D Max, but Sashi get through the round.
Yeah, Lucky, monumental there. I got a little bit scared at the first shot being missed because position like that, you have to try jump back up onto the ledge and into the cave. So a little bit worried, but gets the second shot, backs away, and it's just enough of a stall for the rest of the players to come on in. They just miss out on that CT smoke as well, so they could swing on out, save Lucky, keep the AWP alive. But as you say, expensive round, and they're being kept very humble here as well. So even though they've tied the scoreboard back up, it's still not looking most amazing on Money Front. And Cabby, once again, down in the bottom of mid, is living a little bit longer this time, and there is a bit more purpose to his actions here. Got the backup
Flash
as well.
over the top, this will do it. They're looking for it. They want this fight, and there it is. Just pincering in. Quez supports from the lane. He pushes down ramp. Two come out from scaffold side. And they collapse on that B lane control. Now it's up to Mister. Just needs to buy time. A kill would be perfect. A flashbang over the top from Iceberg enables it beautifully. And for Lucky and Exercise, I mean, what can you realistically do here? There's just too many bodies headed in your general direction. No kills. A flawless round for Sashi, beautifully orchestrated. And like you said, as soon as they have a bit more purpose to that mid push, they look for the scaffolding peak, they look to collapse on the lane, and they isolate a couple of really well-worked fights.
Yeah, much more nicely done there. And the fact that it's also something we criticized over Anubis was this one-sided attack, right? Where they would kind of look at connector and push it, and then afterwards push main after they lost the fight, as opposed to trying a multi-pronged attack. With this one, they smoke off the entrance into mid, they jump up scaffold, and then they have that ramp push as well coming on out from Quez. It means that they trap them in there, and it's just really nicely done. There's intent, there's purpose, and it pays off. It's not just them taking space for the sake of taking space, and very nicely done. Forces 3D Max back onto another Tech 9 buy. They've been expensive. They've not yet managed to swing one on this map. So there's a lot of utility, which gives me the hope.
Clearly got a plan for it. The question is, will they be allowed to play it out how they wish? Early smoke towards Red Room. Second goes towards the scaffold itself. Pop flash over the top. And, well, it's going to be a very heavy B lean from the T side. Initial lane control is the goal. It's going to be given up without too much thought by the CT side of Sashi. Just a pop smoke to get some kind of vision in, as now the second pumper util comes in. It's the B site execute, and up the ramp they come. Plenty of bodies here to meet them, though. An Iceberg raining in that spray beautifully for a double. There is dinks on the board, though.
Whoa.
Couple of players tagged up. Exercise deals with Mister. Quez brought down low, does find his first, and in the 2-on-3, it's not a bad look for 3D Max. They're actually going to look to double back out of it, hoping that they've overdrawn a rotation, and for the time being, they'd be right.
They have a little bit worried Lucky can head straight back here, and they don't have a smoke to deal with him, but they're not quite going to move over in time. So timing there missed, and they will have to now head over towards A straight away. And actually, they've not really picked up on this just yet. So uncontested bomb plants. There's a fair bit of utility for the retake from Sashi.
Honestly, the plant's not a bad result. The kills they've got even better. I mean, Quez Bogdan's himself an AWP, given he's low HP. And if Lucky can maybe get a little bit more out of that AK-47, that would be fantastic. Exercise is going to opt to play up close, hoping that P250 will get a close range dink again, as it has done so many times for him. Smoke goes out onto the bomb. Exercise yet to be cleared, and there it is. Low HP bar punished brutally. Lucky can't rein in his spray against his counterpart, and somehow 3D Max are going to make this happen. A full util commit onto the B bomb site, ending with an A site plant. And a couple of well-placed pistol shots have stolen around for the Frenchman.
You are a much smarter cast than I am here. What do you think was the delay with Cabby there? Because he seemed to be just really held up in mid, not even looking at Donut, just held up in mid. And if he'd been able to push just a little bit further, might have been able to catch out a player and alleviate some of the tension coming in from CT. But he just seemed stuck in mid.
It's a difficult position for Cabby to be in, because as much as they've seen a heavy-handed commitment towards the B bomb site, it is so common for teams to lurk a player to bottom mid, catch that exact rotation. So you've got to be so conscious of it and so present and aware. It's just one of those where it's almost a 50-50 decision making as to whether you commit hard and then you get caught and stabbed in the back and you look the fool, or whether you try and play it passively and then you're relying on your teammates inside of the site to get the job done. Iceberg does really well, but it's not quite enough. And this round, well, it's starting a little bit better for them. Cabby takes a lot of util damage getting that initial scaff control, but Quez pays him back with a well-placed spam through the wood, gets his team the man advantage, and almost funnels 3D Max away from this B-bomb site.
Yeah, true. Hopping up towards scaffold. Passive position here from Iceberg. That smoke is going to cut off one more avenue for them, so can redirect their attention slightly more towards ramp here. They've not heard anything at all towards mid, so got a bit of a sense that something is amiss. That utility certainly is going to confirm the suspicions.
Smokes over the top. It's almost a mirror of the previous round, except this time they've got rifles to work with, and they're really just playing for an initial peak, trying to force that long player to take a fight, leaving it open, unsmoked, to try and bait him in, but it's not going to happen. Iceberg instead sets up the crossfire and now looks to swing. Cabby deals with the mid lurk, and it is a slaughter. Iceberg with a double, Quez with two more of his own. Cabby deals with the late lurk, and that is just another really well-played round from Sashi. You could see 3D Max, you could see what they wanted to achieve. They leave long open intentionally, they flash into it, they want to take that fight, and Iceberg just buys his time, lets Quez play as passively as he likes, and right when they're looking to swing on him, swings wide and gets two of his own.
Yeah, lovely done there. It looked for a second at 3D Max. They weren't quite sure where to shoot or who was shooting who. So many bodies pop on out there, and now Cabby this time shot off by a wall of fire. Does mean that mid is going to be up for contest. 3D Max, but Quez has been this hyper-aggressive presence down the ramp and has to be careful not to shoot through his teammate.
Oof. It's an ugly fight. Leaves an opportunity, leaves an angle. Lucky can't hit his first shot. It's a tough one, but he needed it. B-bomb site now overran. Molotov licking at the feet of Lucky. Does play ahead of it. Looks to set his scope up as best he can. Several players inside of the site. Plant's going to have to be conceded. Pot flash to get their man out. Nice spray from Mister for one, but immediately the response is there. Tag through the wall, and there's the fast flank, but Lucky's read it. 5-7 straight to the skull. Other Lucky finds one back, and somehow it's all on his counterpart. A low HP gravity inside of the site swings it slightly the way of 3D Max, and there's the double swing in. It will be 6-all, the tightest of halves, as both teams grapple for control, and we'll be back in just a moment. Closest to halves you could have to finish it. We wouldn't expect anything less. 6-all. Both teams grappling for control. The big individuals showing up. Gravity finally here for us. Quez having another one of those lights out series that we don't get to see from him very often, but when we do, they're special. Insta-dink onto Maka as mid-control is to be taken by the T side. And where are they going to go with this? Straight through Red Room. Do they want the B split, or are they going to double back? The bomb looks to make its way to A, and A is very heavy occupied. 3D Max, they've had nice reads on these pistol rounds, but can they get the frags to back it up? Jocko with one, immediately traded down. Exercise again, a one and done. And with Maka dinked up in the opening seconds, this starts to feel increasingly improbable. Lucky, HE in, trying to isolate the fights, but it was never going to happen. The molly licks at the feet of Maka, and Sashi start as they need to go on.
Whoa. This is... Every time that I'm starting to think, I'm a little bit worried for Sashi, they pull a round like that out of the bag. Now, 3D Max, sometimes we see them, they force onto these CT side pistol losses, but this time they just didn't find enough impact, not enough frags to even deem it worthy. So they're going to take the L, take the hit. And they've got a couple of HEs, maybe a little bit of a nade stack over towards where, unfortunately, Mr. is standing, but too far back, not a point of damage to be found in the mix. And Lucky having a look, but he's not going to spot any of these scaffold players.
It's a nice idea. Throw the nade stack out there. Not too much invested into the round behind it. Hope that maybe you catch something. And now they'll look to mantle up scaffold. They'll be spotted out, and the farming should well begin. The initial MAC-10 can't quite get it done, and well, that's going to mean the rifles take all the kills away from them, but realistically, that's not of any real consequence. One man goes down, it's only the MAC-10. Not too much money farmed up by Sashi, not too many kills found by 3D Max. Bit of a handshake, and we get into the interesting stuff.
Yeah, I'd say it's a bonus round, but actually both of these teams coming into this looking pretty even in the Arsenal department. So, a bit of a fair fight, finally. 3D Max would be a nice one to find here. Start building up some economy and not let Sashi beat them into the ground like we've seen previously. Joko straight to Donut. Luckily, dodges the flashes, but it's perfect for them to go farming. Iceberg Lucky, they drop. And now an immediate back away down A main.
Two-man commit out mid. Perhaps not as many bodies as they needed to find. Tried to get going, and as you said, a nicely dodged flash, a counter flash comes in, and then just an absolute farm on the initial kills. A little one-dimensional from Sashi, you have to say. Again, just lacking that second prong to it, and well, the recommit into mid comes through. Jocko just playing the crack angle, spots his man out. Util dropped. Smart play, keeps that man advantage. Just looks to reset things. Knows that mid control's been conceded, so the counter immediately is to work their way in towards Cave, and well, it looks like they're working their way into a fight here. Timing on this could be everything. Gravity swings close, gets one, trade immediate, but Maka still up and kicking and manages to find the double as well. That's bombed down in no man's land, and that should well be the round. Cabby, he's going to get timinged on by Jocko, dinked up, finished off by the FAMAS.
Yeah, nice round to be found there, and very cheap round for 3D Max as well. That's what we talked about, them getting back into this half and not letting Sashi run away too much with themselves. And now they're both on their more comfortable side, so we're going to start seeing that shown and reflected a little bit in some of the plays. We can tell that Sashi not entirely sure what they wanted to do. Sometimes at the beginnings of their CT side rounds, they knew they wanted mid. They didn't know what they wanted with mid, and that backfired. Now, a little bit more purpose behind their step, but this time, no weaponry really to back it up. A couple of AKs, but they are going to have to be careful because Joko already out, so aggressive.
That's exactly what you want to see from your mid-take player, just aggressively proactive in towards the scaffold. Cabby, he's desperate for a trade, but he's aware he's left the B ramp open in the meantime, and Gravity is going to take absolute liberties with it. Through his own CT smoke, in towards T spawn now, and it does become a bit of a game of timings. Cabby has arguably slipped the net as he's worked his way out onto the B site, but he's very detached from his teammates at the moment, and Gravity all the while is working his way into that backstab, takes the dink, finds the kill onto Quez, and immediately, just showing a bit of that experience, backs out of the situation, resets it, and forces Mister to come to him. It is going to be a timing, though. Gravity expecting perhaps to be flanked out by Cabby at this point. Instead, it's going to be the backstab from Mister as he starts to clear his corners. There's the kill. And that'll open up an avenue into the B bomb site now with Cabby aggressive. If he can find even a 1-for-1 here, this round is very much on. Quick with the dink. Jocko goes down, and you can see how conscious Maka is. He can't afford to lose this fight anymore.
Oh, and that flash is even more scary because it makes this fight dangerous, and you can tell very worried about it. Comes the corner slowly. Ooh. A little bit too close for comfort there. And probably 3D Max thanking their lucky stars because that could have gone either way. Very weird on the map control. Flanks upon flanks and backstabs upon backstabs. But time for the defuse. 3D Max, they secure themselves another round against what was an unusual buy. Paid off very nicely. But Joko, it's the Joko effect. Runs out, gets 2 kills, backs away to rotate mid through spawn, refuses to elaborate. Unfortunately does go down there, but in all I don't think they were expecting a Tech 9 in the back lines there.
No, Cabby did really well to find that timing and stitch himself into a position where it could have been made possible.
Holds them up there as well. It means that you've pinned your last player, so it's isolated the fight elsewhere.
Util into mid. B lane take looks to be the call from the T side, and again looking to get quickly into this cave. Gravity wants this fight, and it's a little laboured, but he will rain the spray in. Goes down low to get it, but it's job done. Dodges the spam of Iceberg. Man advantage found. And with the smoke down as well, he can just opt to slink away out of this angle if he wants to. And indeed, he'll look to reset things, knowing essentially his job is done. Lucky now. Lovely flashbang in. Gravity gets his kill, drops back, looks to support his teammates. Does just that. Jocko is good for a 1 and done. It's a lovely shot from Mister, but again, there's presence inside of the site itself. Exercise is ready and waiting. This crossing to site is fraught with danger. Molotov to try and deny the plant, and actually, through the smoke, Exercise is desperate to deny it. USP will come out. The bomb will just about get planted down, but it's nothing more than that.
Wild and crazy stuff coming out there. You'd have thought that maybe respected that much utility, but the wildfire, the Org gives you this inflated sense of confidence. So, yeah, got a little bit dicey, had a large chunk of his health taken off of him, still lives to make that final stand, and even if he doesn't, he's bought enough time for his teammates to come on round. Sashi, they get a bomb plant, which means that there's going to be enough money. Potentially, we can start seeing them work towards having that orb back out. It's not going to be now. Doesn't look like they're even particularly saving for it. They are just going to try and get this done with the rifles, but... 3D Max, lots of money in the back pocket for some of these players, and that's where Sashi's got to worry, because even if they do choose to back off and save 3D Max, the confidence, they go for these hunts more often than not.
Again, the mid controller's established. Again, Gravity going to be tested. Heavy spam from mid helps him out, though. The crosshair turned away right as he looks to take the fight. And we spoke about how strong Gravity is in this position. You mentioned it in the pregame. Does just what the doctor ordered. 2 lightning fast headshots. Doesn't even take any damage. And just guts this round for Sashi before it's even really begun. This was the rifle buy. This was the moment for them to turn this one around. And instead, they're staring down the barrel of a 3v5 to try and stitch together on this B bomb site. And this is almost exactly what we were talking about, is 3D Max just taking that element of control away from Sashi, taking the fight to them, forcing them to reevaluate their T side. And this is kind of where we sort of started to see it go off the rails a little bit on map 2. It feels like it's going off the rails a little bit again.
Yeah, very slow. They've got 45 seconds and bomb on back, but they've also got Maka to contend with. There's the first pick. Flash immediately to go for the re-pick. Actually decides not to. Gravity decides he still wants to do a little bit more damage over towards this cave, and now Quez does try and bite back.
Nice shot from Lucky, but again, the trade is instant, and again, the flank comes in. They read it initially with Jocko. Quez did really well. You could tell that the 2 site players weren't taking the peek, looks for the alternative option, and there it is, top of scaff, but almost immediately there's a response, and it's these 2 opening kills that do it. Jocko does really nicely there, pulls the crosshairs away from Gravity. That second one is just a straight up 1v1, and at this point, yeah, you're 3v5. You need a multi-kill out of somebody. It doesn't come through, and so Sashi, 10-8 down, timeout called because they're looking at their finances and thinking, we've got to concede this round. Going to have to drop down to the half buy, and then they are fighting a losing battle.
Majorly so here. But again, I put this caveat on all of the others. Sashi, all of their really great round streaks, all of their really great momentum has come off the back of these wild rounds with buys like this, and they've got the utility. And usually, even when you're on a weaker buy like this, if you've got this much utility, there's clear plan in mind. And it looks heavy over towards B here. Try exploit this, maybe try dodge gravity. The issue is they've got Joko also to contend with up here. Trapped.
Nice nade. It's a tough fight. The spray's a little wayward, and it will go 1-for-1, but Joko and then Lucky happy to mop up the pieces. So many low HP bars just to farm on through. Gravity, I think a little unfortunate there. He really committed to that spray on the M4A4, used all the bullets he had, put a ton of damage down range. I mean, 115 ADR. He really is showing up to the server now. Doesn't quite get the kills, but makes it so easy for his teammates to finish. I mean, he's tagged up 4 players there in a single spray down. It's one of those ones where he'll look at it afterwards and think, if I'd focused up, I could have had 2 kills, and instead I got 4 3/4 kills. But teammates won't mind it one bit. 11-8 on the board. And this really is last chance saloon now for Sashi. This rifle round has got to work.
He's going for the assists grinds, you know?
Another opening pick for Gravity, and this time Joko just getting a bit cheeky with it, pushes out of his own donut smoke, will be traded 1-for-1, but they're not going to expect another one. They never will. The Frenchmen are playing with such flair now. The trades are coming all too easily. Maka picks off one more, and it leaves Lucky an unassailable position, and this is what 3D Max can do when they get a bit of that swagger. French Counter-Strike is notorious for it, and there's Lucky putting his namesake down. 12 on the board. The economy in a really rough spot for Sashi. Needing 4 rounds to even force the OT, and it feels like they're dropping out for another season of Challenger League now.
Yeah, of course, automatic re-qualification for the next season, but that's not really what you want, is it? That juicy Pro League spot, only 2 available, and as we said after this, only 2 best of 3 stand in your way of making it there. And then, of course, the grand final for all of the glory, but 3D Max, tip of their tongue, they want it. And it looks like they're going to have it. Lovely early utility. And this time, it's actually forced back, and they're going to have to be patient.
Nice shot from Cabby at the very least. A fast-paced B play. Lucky a little isolated. Ran down. Cabby is not going to go down without a fight here. Flash in from Exercise. Doesn't quite work. And Sashi have finally got themselves a rifle round on the T side of Ancient. It's been a long slog for it. After that initial pistol and conversion, it has been nothing but failure. Finally, they try something a bit different. They pop that B-bomb site as quickly as they can, and they isolate a couple of well-placed fights. Save to be called from 3D Max, but it's an exit-heavy save. Got a good amount of money in the bank. I'll look to see if maybe there's a couple of kills to be found. Joko tries to play the trigger discipline, punished for it, and that's going to mean the demise of his AWPer here. Of that, I'm certain.
Oh,
Iceberg
no.
looks for the BM. It takes a little while longer than it should have done, but he gets the job done. Flawless round. All 5 alive for Sashi. And is there life in the old beast yet?
I mean, you've got a knife kill. You gotta be feeling something after that. But 3D Max, rough one to lose. They looked like they were going for a couple of exits, but, you know, Maka missing that one shot, he does just have to back away. Unfortunate with the fact that Sashi go hunting, they get very lucky with finding them pretty quickly, and unfortunately for Maka, when you're saving the AWP, if you've got an idea as to where they might be coming, you're going to be scoped in, you're not even going to realize it, and it's the fact that it's not even just a backstab, it's the double go for it. Oh... Tough one, but they've got the money to reinvest immediately, and even a couple of rounds after, I say a couple of rounds after this, probably a round after this, given the fact that some players' money is awful, some players' money is really good. So Sashi, 2 more rounds and you've given yourself the freedom, that overtime on the horizon. 3D Max, you've got the chance, you've got the buffer, you've just got to keep your head in this now.
Naka looks for the early fight, can't quite land the initial shot he was after though. Mister gave him the opportunity, doesn't quite connect, so we'll continue at 5 apiece. B lane control to be taken. This time much less aggressively committed to. Gravity plays back of the angle, where previously we've seen him incredibly proactive. Looks to join up with Maka. HE over the top just to chip away at Lucky, just to let them know there is presence here. There is a problem they've got to consider on the CT side. Just clearing out the corners. Sashi forced almost to pay the respect to 3D Max, knowing how proactive they've been, and well, they're going to go for it again. Lucky's waiting for exactly this play, but his timing's a little off. Gravity swings. His 20th kill on the board. The man advantage found again for 3D Max, and they get out of dodge as well. Reset. Gravity on low HP goes hunting for more. Cabby is on this angle. If Gravity even dares to swing it, he should be done for, but instead he's going to hide. Play the tightest of angles imaginable. Try and see if maybe that low HP bar can pay off. Then he swings, fails the shot. Iceberg takes a tag in mid, but it's 4-on-4, and Maka is on a very pre-fireable angle here. We see teams pre-fire this with a lot of consistency. He knows he's isolated. He's got to find the shot and does. Up close and personal. Iceberg goes down, and now it's the commitment. Now he's got a bit of support as well. Tagged up, dealt with. Lucky there for the trade. Exercise needs to swing quickly. Lucky spray is wayward, but there is the orb, and there is the finish. 3D Max, it takes them all 3, but at 13-9, they will finish the job. A huge performance from Gravity to finish it, and their hopes of ESL Pro League Season 21 continue.
Woo! What a way to end it. What a fist-clenching end to it all. Down to the wire, but